Lucy Nicotine is a company founded by Caltech scientists and former smokers looking for a better and cleaner nicotine alternative. Finally, tobacco alternatives that don't suck.
Researched and developed for 3 years to be made for people, not patients. Lucy has created a nicotine gum with 4 milligrams of nicotine that comes in 3 flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. Lucy also has a lozenge with 4 milligrams of nicotine in cherry ice flavor. Each and every flavor actually tastes great, and it's convenient and discreet. Products can be enjoyed anywhere, on flights, at work, on the go, or even in the gym.
I am so happy that Lucy is sponsoring us. Ever since they came on board, I have gotten no less than 5 of my friends transitioned over to Lucy and put their cigarettes down. They like the gum. I'm used to seeing the packages all around. This stuff is great, and it's really helping people make much healthier choices. So get on board and join the Lucy movement.
Hey, it's 2021. Get rid of your cigarettes, unplug your vape, throw out your dip, and get some Lucy nicotine gum or lozenges. This is the real deal. A subscription to Lucy comes directly to your door each month. It's so simple that you don't even have to leave your house because Lucy has delivery down.
Reality NSFW listeners, go to lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR to get 20% off all products, including gum or lozenges. That's lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Also, I have to give this disclaimer. Warning, this product contains nicotine derived from tobacco. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's lucy.co, and be sure to use that promo code SURVIVOR.
This episode of Reality NSFW is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with us, Blue Chew. Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger and longer-lasting erections. That's right, we're giving away super hard dicks.
Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder, stronger erections to combat all forms of ED.
Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no visits to the doctor offices, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And the best part, it's all done online.
Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. Don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew's sildenafil and tadalafil tablets are chewable. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy.
Hey, if you're looking to give that immunity idol to someone, or you don't want to be voted out of a crater, don't worry, Blue Chew's got you covered. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information.
And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's Blue Chew, BlueChew.com, promo code SURVIVOR to receive your first month free. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
We're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but without all the bad stuff. And it's amazing as a midnight snack right before bed.
0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. That's only 140 calories per serving.
It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And build your own box. Available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and my favorite, maple waffle. Now, Magic Spoon recently brought back their 2 super popular flavors, cookies and cream and maple waffle. Thank goodness, but they're back permanently. And when these flavors were first introduced for a limited time, they sold out extremely quickly. Now, I'm here to let you know you can get them again or try them for the first time. Why? Because they're delicious and indulgent.
Johnny, Magic Spoon has so many great flavors that I really enjoy, and even my kids enjoy them. We have the cocoa, fruity frosted, peanut butter. All these are really great combinations. They enjoy waking up in the morning and getting some Magic Spoon right off to start their day great before they head off to school. I think everybody listening should give Magic Spoon a try, or if you've tried them already, it's time to reorder. Let's get you some more Magic Spoon and get your day started right.
Hey, when I finish a podcast late at night, the first thing I'm thinking is not sleep. It's let me grab a delicious bowl of Magic Spoon before I go to bed.
So go to magicspoon.com/survivor to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code survivor at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/survivor and use the code SURVIVOR to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this podcast.
Hello, and welcome to The Mind After the Game. Today, we are joined by Lyrsa. How are you today?
Hey, how are you? I'm good. A little bit cold. There's a storm where I am, so yeah.
I am happy I'm not in that right now.
Oh, yeah, I wish I wasn't here either, too. It's gonna be great traveling tomorrow, so
you know. Well, we do what we have to do, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can do it on Sunday if I feel like lazy because I don't have to work until Monday, so it's fine. I have the whole weekend to like think when I want to tackle this challenge.
Mm-hmm. So, excuse me. So I thought we could just dive right on in. So usually what I like to start with this podcast is talking a little bit about pregame. Some people talk a little bit about how they were discovered. Some people talk about just the mental toll. And some people just have some stories about pregame. So I love hearing it all. So it's really whatever you think is pertinent to this topic.
Okay. Let's see. So I wasn't discovered. I went to the one of the auditions. I was visiting a friend because I used to work at the airline. So the month of September, which is my birthday month, I will take off and just travel around and visit my friends that were not in PR or in Boston. So my friend was in LA. She went back to PR, but she was in LA, and I decided she was going to be one of the stops on that month. And the day before, I always wanted to apply to the game. And the day before, I'm like, what's going on with the Survivor people? And they were holding auditions the next day after I landed at a furniture store. And I asked my friend, so what I have learned is that the live auditions that they do, in-person auditions that they do in the different states are run by the affiliates and the small stations. So they book whatever space they can book to do this audition process, right? So they chose this furniture store in which the first thing they told us when we got there was like a bunch of people, right? And they were like, please don't touch anything. Don't jump in the beds. Don't open anything. And of course, everybody started jumping on the beds and touching things and sitting in the furniture. And I'm like, okay, these people can follow a simple fucking instruction of not touching anything. Like how they think they're going to like get into the show, right? But whatever. Yeah. It was so funny because my friend asked me, like, I asked her how far it was, and she was like, oh, it's an hour. I'm like, can you drive me there? And she just laughed when I told her what it was. She was like, just laughing, like, really? I'm like, yeah, just like, to scratch it out of they're never going to call me. We got there. People were being messy at that store. my friend and I were talking in Spanish the whole time. So the people around us were also like looking at us weird, like, who the heck are these people? And it was so funny because there was a group in front of me and they were like, oh, we're going to be like final six and we're going to get in and we're going to have this alliance. One of them was dressed as a Boy Scout. And I'm like, oh my God, whatever. I never saw them again. They were never seen on the process, right?
Yeah.
They told me to get when it was my turn, they asked me to talk about myself for a minute, right? And I just made a lot of fun of white people because I just moved to the United States. So a lot of the things and I moved to Boston, which is a very difficult city. Like, it's a very special city. Between whatever the heck they speak, whatever, cockies, and that confusion. And then we are in the state of the freaking Patriots. I hate football. So I think that was what caught their attention, because I was like, you guys are like so obsessed with sports. Like, your favorite sport is football. And that is so homoerotic to me. There's no gayer sport than football because it's a bunch of men in lycras jumping on top of each other. That's so gay. And I just said that, and the person behind the camera was like fucking laughing. And oh yeah, I told him like it was like a whole minute of like roasting white people. And a month later, I was at a bar with one of my mentors, and I got a call from LA. And I let it go to voicemail because I didn't know the number.
Yeah, of course.
And then I went outside of the bar, and scam calling. I'm like, I'm drinking. I'm not gonna do this shit right now. So I want to have a cigarette. I went outside, and there's a voicemail, and I started listening to it, and it was my casting producer, and she was like, "Hey, I'm calling you from Survivor, but I don't know if you know what it is, or if you're are you in Boston or are you in Puerto Rico? Like, can you give me a call?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck no!" So I got like freaking excited.
Wow.
And yeah, I just went to like scratch it off my bucket, and I got a call back. I couldn't believe it. And it's a very difficult process because they can stop talking to you whenever they want.
Yeah.
And they don't have to give you an explanation, right? So you might think you are in this process and you're going to get it, and then suddenly they stop calling and they don't call again. That's what I have heard from other people that have auditioned before and haven't got it into the game. So every couple of weeks when time has passed by and I haven't heard anything, I'll be like, oh my God, they didn't like me. Last time was a failure. They're not going to call me. And then suddenly, like the next day, they will call me again and keep talking. And it was like that I went on that audition in September. They called me in October. And then in February, my casting producer calls me and she tells me that they are still debating because there's someone else very similar to me applying to the show, which I thought it was Wendy, because Wendy was on the next season, and I talked to Wendy and she was like, no, that it wasn't me.
Oh.
It wasn't Wendy. I wasn't going against Wendy. I thought it was. But I remember that I told my casting producer, I'm like, ask her. She's crappy. I'm better than her. Like, I'm great. She sucks. Like, pick me. And then like a couple of weeks later, she called me and there was a side. She's like, I have to talk to you. And I was driving to pick up my ex-fiance at work. And I'm driving to Chinatown, which I hate driving through Chinatown here. It's like awful.
Oh. It sounds terrible.
And it is terrible. And Penny was like, oh my God. There was silence. She's like, oh my God. I was like do a joke on you, but I don't have the heart for it. And then I'm like, oh fuck, she doesn't have the heart, so she's gonna say no. And she's like, so you leave in a month? And I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, you got it. And I'm like, no, no, you're joking. She's like, no, I was gonna joke and tell you that you didn't get it, but you got it, so I'm not gonna play that with you. And then it was preparation time for like a month before going into this. And I don't know what you want to know about that month, what I did, because I did nothing. I did nothing. I prepared. No, for real. People, I feel like I was so stupid because I only rely. I went in this mentality of like, you know what? I'm Puerto Rican like Sandra, and we don't do sports like this. So I'm very social, and that's gonna be my game. So I'm not gonna train that much. Fuck that shit. I'm not gonna like swim just to see if I get a challenge with swimming, which I'm not that good, by the way. I can like I won't drown, but I can't. I'm not Michael Phelps, right? So what I did is to face all the fears I had, and I still have, right? I blocked those for like 45 days before getting there, right? So I knew that it was going to film in Fiji. Fiji is very similar. It's the same type of fauna and flora and like environment as PR. So I'm like, okay, I have that down. These people are gonna fucking die when they get there, and it's gonna be so fucking hot and humid, and I'm gonna be so chill, and they're gonna be dying, which happened, right? So I have that weather shit down. I knew what was available for like eating and roots and all of that. I had that down, but I'm very, very afraid of frogs and lizards. Like I'm panicked. Like I can't deal with that. Not even in pictures, not even in movies. Like I can't look. It's bad. It's so bad. I have been on friends' houses and they have shown me playing like a fake lizard, and I have ran out of the house and ran down the street. It's really bad. It's bad. It's terrible. It's terrible. So I knew there were gonna be like freaking lizards and frogs in Fiji. So I went to the pet store every day to the reptile area and just like look at them because I had to, right? I didn't want to seem. I was already weak. Come on, I'm a chunky nugget. I'm super slow. So I knew that this physique was not gonna get them. So I'm like, I need like do this. So I went to the pet store almost every day, look at lizards. And then I didn't shower for days just to get used to being smelly. My ex-partner got really mad at me when I was practicing that shit. And she'll be like, you need to take a shower. You smell like you're getting to that point that it's like uncomfortable. You need to go. And I'm like, okay, I'll shower. And then the funny thing is that when we got there, I know that you probably know about pregame week, and we get there a week early and we do all of these interviews and all that, and we look at the other people, which is like a fucking weird thing because I remember having lunch next to Kara, and we're having lunch and we can't talk to each other. And being the gentle lady I am, at some point she finished eating at the same time as I did, and I went and grabbed her plate and took it back because like I'm going there, I'm like trying to be nice because that's the way I am. And then one of the chaperones told me I couldn't do that because that was gonna affect my game. And he was I was like super confused. I'm like, why? I'm just trying to be nice to her because I'm going that way. And he was like, yeah, exactly. So people can notice that you are already forming like tight bonds with somebody by just grabbing their plate. So it's like super weird. That's also the week. Yeah, I think that's also the week that Jessica started to hate me already for something I don't even remember that I did. But I think she mentioned it in I don't remember if it was Johnny's podcast, like the pre-assessment thing or like the pre-interview, or it was in some podcast. She said that she didn't like me because when we were doing one of the interviews, they brought us lunch, and there were some wraps. Ones were chicken, the other ones were ham, and the other ones were vegan. Mm-hmm. And I grabbed one that didn't have any labels, and they were like, there's not a lot of vegan ones, so please just leave those for the vegan people. Mm-hmm. And I grabbed one that didn't have anything, and it was a vegan one right after they said don't grab the vegan ones.
Oh no.
And apparently Jessica got upset because I touched a wrap that she wasn't even gonna eat because she eats meat. So yeah, she didn't like me from pregame because I touched a wrap that I wasn't supposed to touch. That's my understanding of the situation.
Interesting.
But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't on purpose. It's whatever. It's fine. But that week is super weird. We got to Fiji. Also, another weird thing that they made me do, and it's so funny. As the world knows, I'm a lesbian. I don't sleep with men. And they made me take a pregnancy test. And oh yeah. So the day before, I think it was like a couple of hours before going into the plane, I had to like get phone and all my electronics because they keep that. You as soon as you're gone, no contact, right? So this lady comes by, knocks on the door, and she's like, "Yeah, I need your phone, and here's your pregnancy test." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't need that." And she's like, "Yeah, you have to do it." I'm like, "But I'm a lesbian." And she was like, "Yeah, but you have to do it." And I'm like, "But I don't sleep with men." And she was like, "Yes, but you have to do it." And I'm like, how do I do this? Because since I'm a lesbian and I have never slept with men, I don't know how to do this. Do I pee in it? Do I pee in a cup and I throw it at the cup? Like, how do I do a pregnancy test? Because I have never done. I think she thought I was fucking joking. And I kept asking her, like, I honestly, like, it's gonna be like, there is no way. If I'm pregnant, I'm the Virgin Mary. Like, there is no way I'm pregnant, right? So that happened. My whole process, I think that's one of the reasons Elizabeth and we just like click. And it was because she, Kara, Allison, Mike, Devin too, but Devin's ended up in 38. We all went to the same audition process. We went to the first interview in LA at the same time. Yeah, it was the whole time. We were the same people. Like, there were more people. And I was so focused on, first I was in school, so I was doing homework. And I was so focused on like not breaking the rules that I didn't notice that they were cutting people. Right? So yeah, as soon as you start the last week in LA, they start cutting people. They start cutting people. And by the last interview, it was just like 10 people. And I thought it was batches of 10 people. Like, we're the first group, and then we're going to go back to the hotel, and then we're going to pick the second group. And then I was super anxious because that's the interview with Daddy and all the rest of the Thai people, right? Mm-hmm. So I told Penny, like, I'm super anxious because, like, you know, there's more people coming. And she's like, what people? And I'm like, well, the other people that are interviewing for this, like, it's us. And then there's like more people. And she's like, there's no more people. Like, you guys are the final 10. This is the last thing. You're like almost there. Like, I'm like, where are the other people? And she's like, oh, they're home. They left. Didn't you see them crying? And I'm like, no. Well, I saw people crying, but I thought that they were like in pain or something. So to me, my audition process was kind of like, except for like waiting, the calling thing, it was pretty easy. And I still, like, every chance I get, I ask Penny, like, why me, right? Because I'm not a model. I look very unconventional, even though when I'm trying to look conventional, I still look very unconventional. And she's like, because like, you're fun and you're genuine and you're authentic and you're pretty smart, which is something that people don't, I don't know if they know. We all get tested, like Sheldon. We all get tested. And if you're not, that bothers me a lot. When I read that they're like, oh, they casted this person and they're stupid and they're gonna lose or whatever. We all get tested. We all very smart people. We all have the chance of winning. Like, being smart or not, it's like we're all in the same level. Yeah, there's gonna be people that are like higher,
Yeah, of course.
but we all are very smart people, and we all have a chance of winning. So when I read like, at least on my case, that they're like, oh, they picked her because she's the token. Yeah, I was the token lesbian, but like because of something and trying to play me down, like, oh, she's not smart. Like we all smart guys. You have like really no idea. We all get tested, and we all very smart. The people that don't make it, it's because they probably they were not having a great date on casting or something like that.
Yeah.
But the casting process is cool. I mean, it's something different. I don't know how it works for people that are being recruited, because I wasn't. I mean, who will recruit this nugget? So
it sounds like it's kind of the same, but it's just instead of, because I interviewed Rita a couple of weeks ago, and she kind of was just like, there was somebody at something she was doing and kind of encouraged her to pursue, and she didn't, because they wanted people who didn't really know the show. So some people don't really know it and get kind of like encouraged to apply. So maybe discovered's the wrong word, but in a way, I guess it's kind of like being discovered too.
Okay. I know that someone on my season, which I'm not gonna say names because that's not my full story to tell, but I know that somebody wanted to apply and they didn't want to see this person, so she snatched her friend snatched her video to someone because they already were hesitant to interview this person, but this person made it on the show. So yeah, at first apparently they didn't want to like interview her. I don't know how that thing went, but it's a she told us in the island, and and how she and this other person had to bend a little bit the rules and keep pushing it because they didn't want to cast her at all, which is very interesting. If I could tell you who the person is, but I'm not gonna do that.
That's okay. We can leave them guessing. Drop them.
Yeah.
Please don't drop it. It's probably expensive.
Yes. But that's pretty much the whole pre-game thing. I didn't. Okay. I know that Nick did CrossFit, and now I regret it. I should have, instead of going to the pet shop, I should have gone more to the gym. I did kickboxing. I was doing kickboxing for like 3 years. So yeah, when I went there, it's not like I was a couch potato and I didn't do anything. And the things that I did practice the most were balancing and like really thin planks or standing in yoga blocks for hours, just doing like squats just to like manage the balance. So I know that for sure, if I had made it to merge, I was not going to be the last one on the challenges. Maybe not the last one, maybe second to last, but not the last one, because individually I had that shit down.
Well, and I think that's such an important thing to practice. It's interesting because talking to Janet, she was telling me that she like practiced so many different things. But you, at the end of the day, you don't really know what to practice because who knows what they can throw at you.
Yeah, it's like Evie. The day before, they did that mock puzzle at their house, and it wasn't the show, right? So you don't know what you're gonna get. I got the challenge that is the circle, and you put the ball, and you have to like move it until it falls off. Some company that does this puzzle sent the prototype to me, and I'm really good at it. I can stay the whole day doing that, but we didn't have that on our season. So honestly, to prepare to something very specific, it might not be beneficial at the end, I think, because then you get something else and then you're blocked like, oh, I didn't practice this. So to me, my strategy of doing nothing, at least I saw everything fresh. Although we more or less like, B got super upset at us plenty of times because Gabby, Christian, and myself are like super fans, right? Mm-hmm. So we knew more or less which reward we were gonna get. Like the first day, you get the flame, and then you get the tarp, and then you get the fishing gear. So we knew we knew what we were getting into when we got into this, right? So we knew exactly what was happening. We were trying to decipher the challenges, like, oh, so this sounds like it's going to be similar to this challenge on this season. And B was not familiar with it because she was recruited, right? So she wasn't a super fan. So she got very annoyed with us all the time because we knew exactly what was going to happen. And she's like, how do you guys know? I'm like, we've been watching this show for like 20 years. We know this is what's going to happen. You just need to trust us that this is the reward and this is what's going to happen. So we're like we're pretty annoying because we're like super fans and we're like also excited to be there. So,
and I think that's part of it too. You have to make the most of the experience because especially if you're a fan, it's like, this is the moment. I'm on Survivor.
But you know what? I was thinking, actually, like 2 days ago, being on Survivor, it's like your last Christmas. Like your last Christmas being innocent about it, right? Because before you get there, you're just seeing these, right? On TV, and you're a super fan, and you're blind to the reality that happens behind the camera, right? Because you're not there. So you get on the game, it's Christmas, you're finally there, and you're like so excited, you're like tasting all the tiny foods and opening all the challenges, you're like super excited, it's Christmas. And then after you discover that Santa needs help, because I don't know who's listening to this, Santa needs help, he's just one man. So second, at like the season after your season, you know all the tricks. So it's not as excitable as it was before your season, right? So to me, it's kind of like, it's amazing that I accomplished this in life. And I achieved this, like I unlocked the box, like, oh, being on Survivor. But at the same time, it's like, oh man, but I know I lost the magic effect. I know exactly how it's done. I know exactly where the camera people are. I know exactly, like right now they're using this drone doing it. So it kind of like lost the magic. And I know it's magical in another way, right? Like now I get to meet all of these people that I have always admired and watched on my TV, right? Or now I am at some point inspiration to other people to apply. And, you know, they look me as a role model, right? Queer representation on TV, that's always great, right? So I gained some other stuff. But I was thinking that it was like I was comparing the whole experience with Christmas, like that first Christmas, that when you realize that, oh man, and then the Christmas after that, your parents still give you like really good shit because it's like the transition. And then when you're like 20, if you get a shirt, just enjoy that shirt because that's the only gift you're gonna get, a shirt, right? So I don't know. It's what I was thinking this week, actually, how I can relate this whole experience to Christmas. But it's good. Like Christmas is good and Survivor is good. And I'm so excited for the, you know, you probably know by now already that I always take the time to say hello to all the newcomers and I send them a private message. Aww. And I really like that part, you know, because like I feel like so lost when I got into this, and it's a really big roller coaster, especially depending on your position in the game, right? If you had like poor Ricard, like first episode, they didn't like, come on in guys, he got screwed for like half the season because people will not shut up about that shit on social media, right? Oh, so I know. It is, guys, first of all, Jeff anyways was gonna drop that, somebody complain or not, they're trying to make adjustments. It is what it is. It's 2022 and the world has evolved, and we cannot keep the mentality of 2001 because it's not 2001. Let's start. We don't have flip phones anymore, guys. Sometimes smartphones are smarter than the person that is using the phone. So changes sometimes are not good. We have to admit that there's some changes that are not good, but this is a game and you're honestly not being affected by anything that happens in the game because you're not playing, right? 100%. You're just an spectator. So we appreciate the loving comments, but if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything, because you don't have the experience to say anything about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
that's one of
People
the-
get so worked up.
I think that's one of the big things too, and that's one of the reasons I really wanted to do this, is because I feel that all of you have a representation of some sort. And I look at comments, I see people just being nasty, like, "Oh, why are they so emotional?" or "Oh, blah blah," and forgetting about the fact that, one, you're all human, and two, you're going through this big. I talked with Janet about this. It's like a trauma that you all go through. It's hard and it affects you in some way, shape, or form outside of that. And whether it's full blown or very small, it still does. And it's not easy.
And it's not something that everybody can relate. There is only like what, less than 500 or around 500 players in the game. Those are the only 500 people that will understand what went on, no matter how much you tell your family. And I feel bad for like that part of it, because for example, my ex-partner, we started dating when I went to LA to just like do this. And when she asked me like, what are you doing in LA, I'm like, okay. And I told her, and I said like, don't laugh, because I know this is something that not everybody likes and whatever, but this is one of my favorite shows, right? So they were there from the moment I went into this audition, but their experience was not the same, and they couldn't relate because they were with me up until a point. And there's 45 days that nobody can relate to you except the people that has been on those 45 days. Mm-hmm. Right? So it is a little bit, that's why I tell people, newcomers, like, don't go on Reddit. Like Reddit, Twitter, like social media in general, there is a lot of love, but there's also a lot of very ignorant comments from people that have no idea what we're going through, right? And this happened months ago, right? Like we filmed my season in March, April, right? We left in March, filmed April, we came back in May. And it stops. You have a couple of months of like being yourself, being a quote unquote regular human. Again, it all depends how far you got into the game or how big your character was, right? And then it starts going on the show, on the TV, and then you are reliving all of this. So if you had a bad experience, you are reliving that trauma again. And then it doesn't end, because we have people like Eric that every season has to relive giving up his immunity idol, right? And that's not cool. Like I told him the other day, like, oh my God, I feel so bad, because every year it's the same thing, and people call you stupid, and people call you a lot of things, and they were not there. You just don't know, and you see it from this side, and you're like, oh, I will never believe that fucking stick is an idol, but you're not there, right? And you have this hope that this might sit, it might be an idol, who knows, right? And you and a lot of us get like so messed up most by social media, that from what happened in the island, right? And that's my pearl of wisdom to newcomers. Don't go on Reddit. It's not worth it. Have somebody else and let only see whatever is good, whatever is positive, because right now what you need is positive encouragement and not bad news, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, somebody sent me a DM that called me I was telling this to I was telling my boss this the other day. Somebody sent me, like, I got dragged into a chat of teenagers. I figure out who it was and all of that, and I told them their mom, whatever. I know I went like really teenager with them, same as they did. But this kid called me a fat dyke. And my only reply back was, can you tell me something I don't know? Because I buy clothing and I know I'm fat. And to me, it will be a surprise and in a way, a little bit offensive if you call me straight. But I'm gay and I know this. So tell me something I don't know. And my boss was like, really? They said that? Yeah, like I didn't know that shit. Like I didn't know I was fat. I know that. And that I didn't know I was a lesbian. Tell me something I don't know. So guys, get creative with your insults, please. If you're gonna insult us, get creative. Get 2022. Don't tell me something 2085 because I already know that shit.
You tell them. I do agree. Sometimes people just like they just want to be, but I say this to clients. I've said it all the time: is the best way to get rid of those bullies is to be uber nice back, and they won't bother you anymore. So when you respond in a way that they don't get, then they're going to be like, "What?" And then it makes them more mad and more confused. It's way better.
I just block them. I used to like engage with all of this negative energy because I felt that I had to defend myself, right? And I had to defend other queer baby nuggets that wanted to be on the show, and all the Puerto Ricans that were being called wetbacks, which, by the way, guys, again, wrong slur. Puerto Ricans, nobody's a wetback. Let's start with that. Nobody's a wetback, and you got the wrong Latin group for that also. But it's not what at the end I decided, you know what? I don't know who this person is. When I discovered that person that kept every week sliding into my DMs and insulting me and telling me all of this shit like at nonsense hours of the night, like it will be like 3 a.m. and I will get a DM of this group. And then I found out it's a fucking 13-year-old. It's a fucking 13-year-old that should be studying if you're going to be awake at 3 a.m. What? Like, why will you do that? It's like, I couldn't. And that was the last round. Like, you know what? I'm not going to lose my time here because all of these people, first of all, they don't know shit. And second of all, most of them are kids that really want to be on the show and don't either have the age or have tried and couldn't get on. So I just blocked them. I don't have that energy. I don't go on Reddit anymore. I don't Google or like check on Twitter. I used to do that a lot because, like, guys, it is what you said. It's a trauma. You get fucked up in your head. I don't trust anybody. Like, I don't trust people. And my circle of friends it was very limited before, and it's even more limited now, right? I don't know. It gets fucked up. And you get all messed up, and then when you think that you're like fixing it or getting better, then something happens, right? That's why I think we had I think it was right after 38. We have an intersectional debate with a couple of past players, and we were talking about how we relive this, right? And how sadly all the assistance that we get is up until your last episode, right? We do get counseling, but your problem doesn't end when the finale is shown up, right? Some people go through this months or years, right? And your body gets all fucked up and all messed up. And I really, oh my God, I talk about her and I get like always so like sad. I'm really glad that Sunday got into the show. And that Sunday was that person that sent me that message, welcome to the family. I'm here to listen. If you need anything, let me know. And I didn't even feel comfortable talking to people on my season, right? Because at that point, you don't know what was said or not, right? Yeah. That's why you want to watch the episode, because you want to see what people said behind your back, right? There's a lot of behind your back shit that never makes it on the show. And you don't trust anybody anymore. Your limited circle of friends like mine gets even smaller. I always question, why are you talking to me? Well, like, what if I don't know you? What do you want from me? Like, you must want something, right? Your intentions cannot be honest. That's why, for example, if I'm on dating apps, I'm single. As soon as somebody in one of those dating apps mentions Survivor, I don't talk to them anymore. Because I don't know if you want to talk to me because I'm Lyrsa and I'm this person, or you want to talk to me because I wasn't a show you like, right? So as
Yeah.
soon as it doesn't matter how cute they are, and let me tell you, I have some cuties there, and as soon as they play Survivor, I'm like, nah, sister, this is not gonna happen. I'll stay single because I don't know if you like me because I'm this cute, or you like me because I wasn't a show you love. So it gets
Mhm.
messy, and now that we don't have Sunday, I don't know if somebody else does this, right? I don't know if somebody else from the family takes the time and do that, but I feel that I need to continue whatever Sunday did with me.
I think
and
that's beautiful.
and Sunday did that, and I had questions. She was the one that told me your body will start feeling better after 2 years. Whatever is going on is normal. And I was going crazy because I will not stop doing exercises and eating healthy, and I kept gaining weight. And it's because your body doesn't know that you're not going to starve it anymore. So it
Oh,
keeps
wow.
holding everything because it doesn't know that your body doesn't know that you did this for this thing, right? So how the way it works is like you might go crazy on me again, girl. So I'm gonna store everything in case you go fucking wild, right? So I was
Mhm.
not able to lose the weight. I'm still like I made peace with it. I'm not gonna lose it. It's fine. I just bought new clothing, right? Um, but I feel that if Sunday will have never told me that, it will have even messed me up more, right? So I feel that I have to continue that, and I owe it to her. So I do that. I like it too. I always tell them like, don't do this, do that, and I'm always available. You can text me whenever, and they listen. It was so funny because like I did an episode for Johnny's Network 2 last season, and I think I said something that I was probably joking. I'm always joking. You guys know I'm always joking and saying random shit.
Yeah.
And one of the contestants saw it because I said that I was gonna give a hug to certain people after finally hearing their stories.
Mhm.
And I said, but this person I haven't heard so much, so I will give them a side hug, right? And then the next episode, it's revealed who this person is and what they went through. And I felt like I was gonna die on the inside. I started crying and I sent them a message like, I am like, I want to hug you right now. I'm so sorry for what you have been through. Like, I love you so much. I just want to hug you right now. And the person replied, but do you want a side hug or a full blown body hug? Because they heard what I said. I'm like, oh my God. And they were like, I'm joking. It's totally fine. So I will give everybody full hugs from the family. Even if I don't agree with whatever you did on the show, I will hug you. It's fine.
Well,
So
and I think it's important that you all have each other because it's a trauma that you've all gone through, and whether or not whatever season you're on, it's similar. So the only people that can really understand are the people I had. Actually, Lex compare it to like war and like combat buddies and things. Like you get really close to your platoon and they become your family, and I feel like it could be the same thing with Survivor. Is that becomes your family?
yeah, it's like Evie lives like 20 minutes away, right? And we were not on the same season, but it's so funny because Evie and I lasted the same amount of time, even though she got farther because the group was smaller and it was a shorter season and they made it to merge. We lasted the same amount of days and we went to like similar things. So it's like finding a soulmate, but you're not gonna marry this person, right? So every
Yeah.
time you meet somebody from the family, it's like we all went through the same, right? Even though we played it differently or had different results, we all went to the same war. And we all got the same trolls or similar trolls. So yeah, it is. I never thought of it, but it's like going to war. It's like going to war, and then for some people, war never ends, and that's like so sad
It is
because
so sad.
it gets to a point like we all need to move on and pass the page. Right.
And it's hard too, and I think that's part of it. You mentioned this. I don't remember exactly what you said, but you mentioned this earlier today. Is how everything will be okay, and then like something happens, and then it'll kind of go backwards. And I mean, it's the same thing. If not saying that everybody who does Survivor has PTSD, anything of this nature, but at the end of the day, triggers. Things still probably trigger you. There's probably some things and maybe you don't understand it. I've had people tell me that sometimes the rain triggers them and making them feel like scared. Yeah. So it's one of those things like, you get triggered, or if there's a time where maybe you're really hungry, that might trigger you, and you might have, it's that fight or flight response. Your body is trying to figure itself out, and it's normal, but it's also really scary and confusing.
It's so interesting that you mentioned rain and food, because I can go hours without eating, right? If I am not able to eat, I just tell myself, you know what? Like if we go to a restaurant and if the waiting is 2 hours, no, fuck that shit. I'm not going to wait 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
I'll go to Burger King, right? 2 hours is unreasonable, especially for like fucking Cheesecake Factory. That's ridiculous, right?
I know. It's always a long line.
People do it. If you want to do that, that's on you. I won't do that. But if I can have food, like I was in PR with a friend last summer, and the day we got there, the day she got there was a power outage in the whole island, right? And there was no electricity in the apartment. I couldn't cook for us, so we went out to venture to see what was opening, right, to get food. And they were obviously restaurants that were open, but the waiting time was like ridiculous because there's no power in the whole island, right? So my friend starts getting angry because she wants to eat. And I'm like so chill. I'm like, I didn't eat for 17 days, so it's totally fine if I don't eat for like 6 hours. And I said something to her to kind of like relax the mood, and she didn't take it well. She's one of those people that get really upset if they don't eat.
Yeah.
So she was like, don't you ever laugh again if I'm hungry. It doesn't sit well with me. And I was like getting to know this person. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was just trying to like, change the mood over it. So food for me, if I don't eat in a couple of hours, it's fine. If I see rain, I can't take it because it rained for 12 consecutive days. We were fucking wet. We smelled like moldy cheese, BO, and shit I can't even describe. So when I see either snow or rain, I start to get panicky if it's more than 1 hour because I don't know when it's going to stop, right? So it's messed up. Food, no food, totally fine. Rain, fuck that shit. No, I don't want any rain. Same with the quarantine. I feel, and I would like to like talk to some other players about this. I feel that because we had this experience of staying out of the reach of people, right? And out of contact, and we couldn't like see other people. We couldn't leave the island. We don't have phones. We don't have anything. I think that in a weird way, Survivor prepared me for quarantine because I felt nothing. People were like so ready to go out and ready to travel and go to restaurants. And I'm like, I don't miss that. Like, I'm okay. Like, if I go out, I'm fine. If I don't go out, it's fine too. So I feel I dealt really well with the not seeing people, because I already went through a period of time that I couldn't see people, I couldn't contact anybody. And I feel that kind of like trained me for the real event. So
interesting.
It might be.
You're the first person who's brought that up, and that's really interesting. And I think that everybody was prepared or not prepared for COVID in one way, shape, or form. I never thought about that. I like that's interesting to think about.
Yeah, I thought of it because so I broke up with my ex-fiance a year or so ago, right? And they could not deal with the quarantine and being like, not that we went out all the time before COVID, but for some reason they couldn't cope with it, right? And I was so chill about it. And I didn't understand like how we are living in the same house, we are partners, we have more or less the same lifestyle, how I'm fine with this, and how are you going crazy with this? Like, I don't get it. And then I started to realize, well, I went through a period in which I couldn't even talk to her, and I cut like communication with everybody. I couldn't see anybody. So maybe that helped me adapt way better
Yeah.
to this confinement. So it will be interesting to see how other players dealt with this, because
Yeah.
it might be interesting.
Yeah, I may ask that in the future now. So thank you for that.
Oh yeah, and let me know if somebody
I
feels
will.
the same.
Yeah, no, I totally will. I'll be like, message you on Instagram, tell you.
Yes.
So I would just want to know, is there any other, so I know some players will explain to me, they'll tell me stories or tell me like something that, behind the curtain, or just something interesting that happened before, after, during the game that you want to share?
Oh, during the game, our days off. If first of all, I slept all my 8 hours plus every single day.
Good
I
for
am
you.
I am very blessed. I can sleep anywhere. Like there's pictures of me sleeping like a pretzel twisted, sleeping on buses, sleeping on the floor when I was in high school. Like one time I fell off and I fell off flat and a peer just passed me over and kept walking because he thought I was taking a nap in the middle of the hallway.
Oh
So
my.
that's how easily I can sleep anywhere. So I was sleeping my 8 to 10 hours, however the night lasted, right?
Wow.
And then one night I was having dreams too. Like I was like so relaxed. They never knew this. And sleeping is an advantage, right?
Yeah.
Because your brain is getting rest. I was like, I knew everything that was going on because I was very aware of my surroundings. I went to school for anthropology, so I'm used to like observing people. I just didn't I think that's my regret. I wasn't People think I was outspoken, and I think I wasn't outspoken in the way I should have been outspoken. I should, for example, I should have told people that Nick was a lawyer. Nobody wants to take a lawyer to the end.
Yeah.
And I knew that. As soon as I saw him, I was like, this guy is either a preacher or a fucking lawyer. And then he started talking. I'm like, he is a lawyer because I know my special victims unit, and that language is only used by lawyers. I love my criminal documentaries. I am very into
Yeah.
like serial killers. I do a podcast of horror movies. I know
Ooh.
how a lawyer talks, and I knew that he was a lawyer. I knew that Davey had the idol. Nobody at the Premier Street believed me. I told like B and Jessica, oh, Davey had the idol. And they were like, no, he didn't. He was our friend. He will have told us. And I'm like, he had the idol, and you can choose not to believe me, but I know he did. And then on the show, he showed up and he had the idol. So I was sleeping all the time. I was having dreams. And one day that thankfully we were off, I had a nightmare that night that my mom had died. And I do have some dreams that kind of happened in my lifetime. So I was so upset.
Yeah.
And I woke up in a super bad mood. And Gabby was like, I sat down in front of the beach. And she was like, what's going on? I'm like, I had a nightmare that my mom died. So I'm waiting for Jeff to come by and take me out of the game because my mom died and he's going to take me out. And she was like, no, it was just a dream. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't get it. This was very vivid. And now I think that Jeff is going to come by and take
Yeah.
me out of the island. I'm going to tell you something I have never told anybody in all of these 3 years I've been doing podcast interviews or
Ooh,
like
okay.
I had that dream. No. It is not a good
Oh,
thing.
okay.
I had that dream, right? I had this person in my life that was like a second mother to me. And I will not make any kind of move in my life without consulting to her first. That's how much I love this person, how important this person was in my life, right? They knew I went on the audition. They knew I was going on the show. Last time I was in PR before getting into the show, I couldn't go and see her. So I went on the show. They, sent me good energy, and she was like, "You'll tell me everything about it when you come back."
Yeah.
We leave in March. I come back in May, and I call her, and she doesn't pick up the phone. And I keep calling her, and she doesn't pick up the phone. So I call her daughter, which is my ex-girlfriend. It's my ex-mother-in-law. And I call her, and I'm like, "Hey, why is your mom not picking up the phone? Like, I've been calling her since I came back because I want to talk to her and tell her about the experience. And she's not picking up the phone." And she's like, "Mom is sick. And she has stage 4 cancer. And she has not picked up the phone because she can't talk. Like, she's so weak, she can talk." And I'm like, "When did you guys got the news?" And she was like, "A little bit before you left." And she didn't want to tell you because she didn't want to worry you while you were there. And then the whole dream kind of like made sense to me. I know sounds so weird, but this person was like a second mother to me. And I had that dream that my mom had died. And then I came back. I get the news on around like mid-May, and she passed away in October.
That's wild. Wow.
So I it might sound crazy. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We can pick it back up.
But yeah, I think that experience was like so weird. So like it felt so real. And then coming back, I had this real situation similar to the dream going on, that after like you decompress, then you start like thinking about all of this stuff. Like I told you, like I thought of Survivor similar to Christmas like a couple of days ago, right? Other funny thing, this is funny. Okay. Elizabeth had thousands of mini projects in the island. Oh yeah. And we will start projects together, and she will fucking disappear in the middle of the project and not come back. Like we were making a fucking fish trap, crab trap that she instructed us how to make it. And she cut all the bamboo really thin. And the funny thing is that I'm holding a tiny piece of bamboo, and Elizabeth's with a fucking machete that she's going to cut that tiny piece in half. And I'm holding to it, right? And the only thing, as the pervert I am, I'm telling her, is like, "You need to be careful because I really need my fingers." And she was like, "But Lyrsa, we all need our fingers." I'm like, "No, you don't get it. I really need my fingers." So you cannot fucked up with my fingers. If I come back to Boston with no fingers, it's gonna be a huge problem, right? So she started all of these projects, and then that's the day she left, and left Gabby, Christian, and myself doing that trap that we barely finished. We couldn't catch anything with it. And then she went on the boat, like on the swimming boat with Davey and B and Nick, to just swim out and do something else, while Christian, Gabby, and I were trying to finish something that we didn't even want it to do. She just wanted to start that tiny project. She started so many tiny projects in the island. It was like hilarious.
Oh, I can see that.
She was like after Pat left, because Pat was Bob the Builder. That shelter, I'm like so happy that we got Pat. Yeah. Because he made, oh my God, when we got to the Jabeni tribe and Nick and I saw their shelter, I think the swap, being in a minority and then getting there and seeing that crappy shelter that these Goliaths, which are huge men, right, did. Oh my God, that sealed the fate for me. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to sleep, which I didn't. I slept there, but it was more uncomfortable. I lost, right? I got voted out. Like that whole island, it's terrible. I see it on TV, and I'm like, oh, I love it, but I hate it at the same time. So, anything else funny? Castaway, you know that big rock that it's in Castaway in that movie, and so that was my bathroom. Every time I needed to go. So every time I see that movie and I see The Rock, I always tell people, "Oh, I used to poop there," and people are like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "I'm so sorry to give you such a personal information, but I went through this that the whole world saw, so I don't have a filter anymore." And yes, I poop there. Very difficult because the waves come up and they try to wash you away, but you have to go. So yeah, I tell that to people all the time just to ruin the movie from them. It's like, oh yeah, I used to poop there all the time. Like, fucking bitch, why you have to say that shit? No pun intended.
I would have just laughed.
It's just like the little things. And I know that, oh my God, I saw that we were on Netflix. And I think 3 or 4 of the thumbnails are my face. And I decided I'm going to take a screenshot from my phone of the Netflix and zoom it out to see which face I'm making. Oh my God, the worst faces in the world are out there on Netflix for people to see.
Woo.
Like, oh my God. I'm like, all the faces I'm making are terrible. The stills are terrible. There's one that I look like I've been to prison like 17 times. Terrible pictures. Terrible pictures. I still love it. I still love it because I'm there. I mean, I'm out there. But still, Netflix, if I'm on a show again, please. I mean, look at this beautiful face. Come on, do me better. I already lost. I already didn't become this lesbian to the level I wanted to become. So at least be kind and give me nice faces, please. That's all I'm asking.
Hear that, Netflix?
But yeah, I told my mom to watch it over on Netflix because she actually didn't watch my season when my season was going on because it conflicted. Yeah, it conflicted with her fucking telenovela. So she will be in one room watching her soap opera and have my dad on the other room watching the show and screaming at her to come to the room when my face was on the TV. And by the time that she got there, I was no longer on TV. So she got like really mad and she was like, "You told me that these people, they love you. Mira, you told me they love you and I don't see you on the show." And I'm like, "But I'm there. I was just there." And then when the season was over, my dad told me like she never saw shit. She was on the other room watching her soap opera, and that's why she was fucking lost the whole time because she didn't watch the show. She lied to you. Like, oh, great. Great. But she wants me to be back on the show. She's like, "When are they gonna call you back?" I'm like, "Never." That's never gonna happen. So you're not gonna see this face again. And she's like, "But you lied to me. You told me they love you." I'm like, "Yeah, I thought so too, that they love me to that level." I am hoping that they do a season of maybe tattoo people versus people that are not tattoo, and then I can be on that one, or chunky people versus really fit people, which is kind of like
that would be fun.
Browns versus like looking cute and semi-emo kind of thing.
Well, how about this? You get on the tattoo tribe, get me to go on too. Got you.
I honestly thought that was the theme. I was so stupid. I'm telling you.
Your theme? You thought that's what you thought your theme was?
Yes, once we got to Fiji. Oh my God. First of all, I'm with a bunch of people that they all look so different, like Gabby, Christian, and then you have people like fucking John Hennigan, right? Or like, I don't know, Kara, Alice, like all these super hot people. Not saying that Gabby and Christian are not hot, but we're a group all over the place. I didn't see anything in common with people except that, for example, Gabby, Christian, and I wore glasses, right? I didn't saw any connection. Natalie had that shit down. Natalie told me, "I knew exactly who was on which tribe. You were the only person I was confused because I'm not trying to offend you, but you look the way you look. And then you have purple hair, and all the people with blue and purple were like so fit. So you had me confused. I didn't know where you were going." I'm looking at people and I'm like, this person has a tattoo. A tattoo I wouldn't get, but they have a tattoo, and this person doesn't have a tattoo. So maybe it's tattoo people versus non-tattoo people.
Ooh.
And then Dan had one of his tattoos was something religious, and I'm not a religious person, and I'm like, maybe it's Christians versus atheists. Like my combinations or themes were like so all over the place. I had no clue. And then when they said David versus Goliath, I'm like, oh, I can definitely see it now. Now I see it. And my mom is a Christian person. She's gonna fucking love this shit. Again, she didn't watch anything of the show. But yeah, I that would have been great. Like, can you imagine tattoo people versus non-tattoo people?
That'd be pretty cool. Or just like alt people versus not.
Yes. I mean, I will. Now it's difficult because I'm almost on that group of like not young people, even though I look young. Yeah. So it's very confusing. They will not believe me. I was the oldest person in my tribe, like female person. Oh yeah, I'm older than Elizabeth. I'm older than everybody else. Like it goes. Wow. I think to be honest, female wise, it's Natalie. And then me.
Wow.
That's how it goes. Yeah, I think it's like in general, I think it's Natalie and then Mike and then either Pat, Carl. I think John is like a year or two older than me. And then it's me. Right? Wow. So I will be considered one of the older females if I play again. That's my back seriously thinks I'm an older person because that baby hurts every day. So it will be interesting to go as a 40-something, I guess, if I ever play again. Because I think the second time will be, you already know what you're going to get, right? So aside that it's not Christmas anymore, you know what you're going to get. I think you now, second timers, like people that repeat customers, I think that the advantage is that they already know what they're going to do, right? They already come in with a plan. I didn't have a plan. I was just like, I'm playing it blind and I'll see what happens, right? Which was good, but also bad. Because now I look at it and I'm like, I should have tried to like make a relationship with Natalie and Angelina. Get rid of Nick. Like Nick had way more ties with the Davids that I had. I should have played that card. I didn't play that card, right? So I think that once you play a second time, you come in with this like kind of like malice in your head, right? I don't know. We have that saying in Spanish, malicia. You already go in with this mindset, right? That this is what's gonna happen, and I'm gonna play it that way. So and you know what you're gonna get. So I think I will be a fucking bitch if I play again. Like, well, I love to watch. For real, because I was like, I think I was too nice. People told me like, no, you were not that nice, and I'm like, really? I think I was like fucking nice to people. I could have called out like a lot of people and being like so rude to be not rude, but like I would have taken shit from people. Yeah, I don't take shit from people in my real life, and I feel that I let myself down in that sense. I took shit that I shouldn't have taken, right? And stand my ground and be like, no, that's not gonna happen like that. But then again, my family was like, you don't want to be that bitch because you're gonna be the Latina, the angry Latina, and we can. It's difficult. It's difficult to be so many things in just one tiny little nugget, and you don't want to disappoint anybody. Because if you are too like outspoken, then you are the angry Latina person. If you decide that you don't like guys and it should be just come in, then you're too woke, right? You're too woke, and it's like there's no way to please people. So
No, there
next
isn't.
time, people, be advised. I'm gonna be a fucking bitch. I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want, and I'm not gonna give a fuck about the rest of the people. So be ready, because I might be the first one out, because I'm gonna act like I don't give a fuck. But at least you'll have one episode in which you're gonna have fun. So
Yeah.
that's
You
it.
know, well, Lyrsa, what are you up to today? Like, what kind of things are you up to?
Well, today life has went back to like semi what life was before. I have a job that I go to, and I hate going. No, I don't hate going. I just don't like to wake up early, and that's
I
why
hear
I'm
ya.
always late. But since I'm salary, it's okay to be like 10-15 minutes late. I don't have to clock in. So I love that part of my job. Um, yeah, it's nice. It's nice that I can still, like, I don't have to. Oh, it's so funny, because the first 3 months of any kind of job I had ever had, I wore makeup. I always iron my shirts. I look super presentable. I barely talk to people. And then once I'm in that I have passed my, like, those 90 probation days. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't brush my hair anymore. I don't put fucking makeup. I'm just myself, and I tell them like it is. And now I've been 3 years into the company, and I really say whatever the fuck I want, which is too scary for me, because then now I don't know when I need to shut up. And I mean, they don't mind. Most of them don't mind. I have not been called by HR yet. So it's going good. It's going good. I still have a job. I didn't have a job when I went on the show. I now have a job. I've been there
Nice.
3 years. They have been very kind to me. I even told my boss, hey, because there's a coworker that is a super fan. I'm like, if Christy and I apply for the Amazing Race and we get picked, can we go? And she's like, yeah, sure. 2 years ago, she was said, no, Lyrsa can't go. But now I can go and do other shows, and they'll be totally fine with it.
Cool.
I also do a podcast that comes out every Tuesday. It's about horror movies. It's called The Heavy Leather Horror Show. We also have a TV show, but this podcast originally was a TV show. And then after we recorded the first 4 or 5 episodes, COVID happened. The studio had to shut down. So we translated the TV show into a podcast. Really soon, we're going to have our 100th episode, which I'm like so
Wow.
excited. I know it's been 100 episodes, and it's a blast. We are just a crazy bunch of misfits that sit down every Monday and we talk about horror movies. We talk about crazy news that are going out there. Crazy in the sense of a person that decided that they were going to steal some money and then said that they didn't steal it, even though all the evidence said, yeah, we have crazy people. Yeah, it's like crazy news like that, stupid
Cool.
news, but we always have fun.
Yeah,
And then
that's
we
all that matters.
review. Yeah, we do a group watch, and we review that group. Everybody. Just so you know, January and February are really bad months for horror movies. Whatever is coming out, it sucks, but we have a duty with our listeners, and we still see those terrible movies and review them badly. And I also have been doing a lot of artwork. Last year, after my breakup, I enrolled in a mixed media collage class, and I fell in love with it. And I have my own Etsy store, and I sell collages. And last week I took a digital collage class. So now I'm doing the most hilarious shit on Photoshop that you can imagine. And I'm so proud. I did myself as the progressive dude that says you don't have to become your parents. I did a Photoshop of me being that dude, because I am definitely becoming my parents. So I'm just like playing around with that shit. If you want to see more of my art, I do have an Instagram account that is just art related. I do not follow people back. People, if you add me on that account, don't feel bad that I'm not adding you. This is only for posting my art. I only follow family members. I am following maybe like 10 people on that account. Don't follow anybody, but you can go in. My collages are like super like crazy, and I mix a little bit of everything. It's Lyrs, Lyrs dot art, and I'm on Instagram, and on the bio there's a link to my Etsy store. Some of the fans have bought my collages, and I'm eternally grateful because you are funding my 41st birthday in September. So thank you. Thank you for
Yay.
that. Yeah, I already have one hotel room down for one night thanks to those
Woo.
collages. Thank you. Keep them coming because I still have like 10 nights to pay for. Um but that's what I have been doing lately. I am traveling a little bit more and seeing family members and friends.
Awesome.
Not that COVID stopped me because I already had tickets that I bought when this happened, and I went taking all the precautions. My first flight, I used like 4 masks. I was like suffocating on the plane because, oh yeah, I had a face shield. It was in December, like that year that
Oh yeah,
COVID,
yeah.
right? So, and I was going back home. I was not gonna. I recently broke up. It's Christmas. It's fucking cold, and I was not gonna stay here in Boston.
I
So
don't blame you.
I went back to PR for a couple of weeks. I wore a face shield. I had 3 masks. I had a roll of like Lysol wet sheets, whatever,
Yeah.
and I cleaned every. It was like so crazy, and the plane was almost empty. So my friend said that I didn't respect that. I kept traveling. And yeah, I did keep traveling. So if you want to judge me, judge me. I travel, but I did took all the precautions. So
That's all
I'm
you can do.
I still haven't gotten it. So I'm let me knock on some wood here.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, I've been one of the few people that, especially being traveling and being the only person in this household that goes out and went out the whole time doing grocery shopping, I was way exposed all the time.
Yep.
So for me, how long has it been? 2 years for me being
No.
2 years into this and not getting it. I'm like so fucking lucky. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can continue that.
yes, every week we have a tiny party in this apartment. Every week's like, yay, another week with no COVID. So
Woo.
yes,
Perfect.
but that's what I've been doing lately. So
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lyrsa. I really appreciate you coming here, talking to me, and giving me your stories. It was awesome talking to you.
yeah,
And I'll look forward to probably podcasting with you in the future and other stuff to do. So there's that.
yes, but with one condition.
Okay.
I need Johnny to send me one of those blue chew pills.
Okay. Okay.
Because I am very curious about that pill. I know that it's not gonna do shit on my body because I don't have a penis, so my dick is not gonna get big. But I'm very curious about it. Also, I tried Magic Spoon, and yeah, guys, buy
No.
it. Yeah. Please, Johnny, send me that pill. I'll
right.
I'll go in. I'll write Survivor for you.
Perfect. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you in the future.
Yeah, same to you. It was a pleasure.
Great. Thank you. Bye, Lyrsa.
Bye.